the best of all services, and because the court orders it. And to see this kind of scenario, I'm sure must be played out day after day in Michigan, because there just is not a good system of information sharing that will help our children succeed. So that's my initial thought. Anyone else have a thought about what happened in this emergency room visit?
Back here.
I saw that the doctor really,
His focus was primarily on the mom, but the father was the one that was actually providing the information.
Great point.
Yeah, it was like borderline medical malpractice, I think.
What else about the doctor-family interaction? Any other observations or thoughts? Speak up a little bit for us.
They totally ignored the other child that was in the room. She was clearly acting out and withdrawing herself from the whole situation. So nobody really said anything to her and kind of minimized her presence.
Very, very good point. What does that do to children when there's potentially a special needs child or any other child that gets all the focus? We know that can have implications around that child's self-esteem, the need to be able to get attention, and sometimes, unfortunately, do that the negative way. And if there are some other concerns developmentally, educationally, they may not ever be observed because all the attention is on that other child. Good point. Others?
What I liked it better in this scenario than the first one was that this doctor took the time to try to explain to the parents exactly what was going on, what he suspected what was going on, besides just giving the mom some papers and telling her to go on. He took the time to try to break it down so that she could really understand what was happening.
Okay. Well, what about mom?
Well, I thought foster parents showed quite a bit of lack of training on how to deal with children. I mean, yelling to hold their horses and other things like that. But it seemed real to me.
Yeah, right.
You know, that's unfortunate. I think there are many, many great foster parents, and there's quite a few that are not so great. So I thought the mom kind of was missing the point, you know, of what was actually going on here.
Was there a little bit of denial of mom? So when it was
Sure.
raised about Deja being development delayed potentially, so would that parent be inclined to even listen to the specialist necessarily?
More than
Maybe.
likely, yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. That also might be the type of parent that as an appointment gets set and then what happens? Inevitably something else comes up. Which then means what for Deja as she gets ready to come to a Head Start? Because she's 2 now. So what does that mean for Deja by the time that she's 2.5, 3, 4, of the time she hits kindergarten? She's behind. Okay, because there was not a connection to her primary care physician in a consistent and ongoing manner. Other observations?
One of the things that I thought was good, but not common, was the fact that there was a social worker connected with this practice. And most, especially private pediatricians, don't have that kind of a resource available. You know, I thought that was a positive, but unusual.
Big systems issue. Mary Mueller happens to work at Children's Hospital in the social work department. So that hospital has a social work department. So those cases where, in fact, those kind of resources are needed, a referral can be made and you don't have to get in the car and go across town. But we've got some other kinds of clinics, as you mentioned. Private pediatricians can't do that. And in many cases, we have federally qualified health centers. But they have huge caseloads. So you may still get a what? An appointment and not get a chance to see someone.
I was surprised that the second option appointment was October.
Yes.
You know, I was thinking it was going to be January.
I did too. Right, because a lot of times people will just say, well, okay, I'll come back. October I could live with. Let's get these kids home. Okay, great. Anything else? So we have systems issues. We had an issue of a physician on one hand who made the referral. On the other hand, seemed to ignore the father. And so there was a stereotype there, which, by the way, we do very often, particularly with young children. I mean, people in early childhood, we're really good for this. We create environments that are female-oriented, and then we wonder why men aren't comfortable in them. And then when men are brought into the situation, oftentimes all of our comments, all of our materials are geared towards who? To the mother. So that's an individual practice issue, but it's also a systems issue. Even the pictures, etc. Anything else?
I wondered about the doctor, the unwillingness to prescribe some medication because he didn't have access to the records. Is there, you know, if the child, she didn't display as being urgently ill, but you know, in a crisis with an asthma attack, I'm sure another doctor would have done something more than that, even without the background knowledge, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But there's another thing that kind of strikes me when you raise that issue about would a physician, in fact, write a prescription? It's back to school time. People got to get those immunizations. Unfortunately, a lot of them are not going to their primary care physician. They're going to a health fair, which is a stopgap measure of saying, come to this health fair so you can get your child enrolled. We don't want to lose your enrollment in Head Start. We don't want you to lose your enrollment in this daycare center or in school. Come to this health fair, get your immunization. But in doing so, that family's not been connected to their physician. And so therefore what happens, and this is a scenario we talk about in WCHAP all the time, is that we have in many cases physicians who have families who will bring their child in, particularly on a behavioral health issue, and say, my child has been put out for being ADHD or has this issue, and I need you to prescribe some drugs now, because I got to get my kid back into school. And I would ask any of our medical folks to be able to chime in here. A competent physician would never write a prescription for any kind of medication without having either talked to a psychiatrist or seen that diagnosis. But we also know that upsets parents quite a bit. But what still happens, guess what? When that physician steps out and says, by the way, could you call, can you call the new Community Mental Health Agency? You notice I made this one up. And when they call, guess what they get? The same thing we do. They get put into a voicemail circle. So we have physicians who also are reaching out to mental health agencies to get resources, to get consultation, so they can prescribe the appropriate meds, and in some cases are not able to break through. That's another one of those big systems issues we're trying to grapple with. Anyone else? Okay, well, I'm seeing we call them now the WCHAP players. The WCHAP players are in place, so we'll just kind of step out of the way.
Angel and Dina have recently moved from Jackson, Mississippi to Detroit with their newborn baby, Brianna. They are looking for resources at the WIC clinic and have not yet had a chance to settle in. Let's hear their story.
Ma'am? They're going to restart tape, so can you do that again in 2 seconds?
Look, I'm trying to run. He's trying to make me talk some more. Ooh, shit, I can.
Take 2.
They ready? Ready?
You can just sing for us, Swan.
You started
Don't
this.
give her any ideas.
No. Angel and Dina have recently moved from Jackson, Mississippi to Detroit with their newborn baby, Brianna. They are looking for resources at the WIC clinic and have not yet had a chance to settle in. Let's hear their story.
Did he say turn left or turn right?
He said turn left. Oh, here it is, here it is. Come on. Go for it.
Thanks.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, bien, ¿y tú?
Bien. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Angel Velasquez, and I'm here with Dina Shaker.
Sí. Hablas inglés?
Más o menos.
Okay. Yes, your appointment is for 10:30.
Okay.
Go ahead and have a seat.
All right, thank you.
Staff person will be right out.
Angie, Danelle, come on. How are you two doing today?
We're good. How are
Good,
you?
good.
Good, good. Please have a seat. So this is your first visit at our location. Have you been to WIC before?
We've been to the one in Jackson, but we just moved recently.
Oh, okay, great. Did you bring any of your records with you?
No, actually, we had to move pretty quickly.
Oh, really? Do you mind if I ask why you had to move?
Well, we were living with Angel's mom, and things weren't really going so great. I mean, one day she'd be really nice and sweet, and she'd be kissing on Brianna, and then the next day she'd be really angry and yelling at us and saying that the baby was a moreno, and like, you know, she just really wanted us to get out. But
Holy mom.
yeah, but it all worked out because then Angel got a job up here, so we had to move.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad you were able to get out of that situation. Have you filled out these forms before? Do you know what we're about?
Yeah, we have. They're slightly different than the ones we filled out in Jackson.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick assessment with you. Then I'd like to hear more about your needs. Are you feeding baby Brianna breast milk or formula?
Well, I want to feed her breast milk, but it hurts, and I feel like she's not getting enough, so we mostly do formula.
Okay, I'm sure we can help you with that. There's a program called the Maternal Infant Health Program. They actually come to your house and they teach you about how to feed your baby, and hopefully will help with some of that pain. Before the end of the meeting, we'll check to make sure that we can get you into that program, see if you're eligible. Let me back up for a minute, though. So you had to move real quickly. Were you able to find a doctor here?
No, she was on Medicaid, but since we moved so quickly, we haven't had a chance to go to the Medicaid office to look for one.
Well, that's very...
We've even called a couple times, and it's been hard to reach them.
Okay. Well, that's very important. You need to get the Medicaid straightened out to make sure that Brianna makes it to her well child visits.
Okay. You mean to get her shots? I mean, we already got her shots for well child visits. We went to a health fair.
Yeah, it's true you can get them at a health fair, but that's only a one-time thing. What about the shot she needs after that? Going to a fair doesn't give Brianna a regular doctor. She needs to have a medical home. Now that you're here, she needs to have a local doctor who will know about you and know about her and know what you guys need.
Wait, I thought a medical home was like when they come in and they take care of you because you're sick?
No, that's not, we don't do that. That's called home health care.
Oh.
A medical home is really important because if Brianna gets sick, you need to have somewhere to take her to be seen.
I mean, that's kind of true, because remember when she was first born?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we had to go to the ER a couple times because she was having trouble breathing. She was a little bit early.
Yeah, we had a few scares. It was really scary.
Yeah, I can imagine so, but I'm glad she's okay. How early was she?
It's 2 months early,
Yeah,
so she was 7 months.
7 months, yep.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. It's important to let your doctor know that as well. At the doctor's office, once you find a medical home, they'll be testing her to make sure that developmentally she's growing and doing what she needs to do, and that's really important for you guys to know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for
We will
letting us
from
know.
now on.
Okay. Well, it's just another example of why having a regular doctor is helpful. Well, with that said, let's get started on our assessment.
Gracias.
Scene.
Anyone see a systems problem here? I mean, I thought the nurse did a great job explaining things.
Lack of education for the parents.
Yeah,
What is a medical home, what is wellness,
right,
well child care.
right. Yeah.
You transferred from Jackson, the same state of Michigan, yet the forms here were different than the forms there, and there was no transfer of information.
Is it Jackson, Mississippi or Jackson, Michigan?
There was still no transfer of information.
Right, it's clear.
I knew it was Jackson.
That's good. Anyone hear of presumptive eligibility for Medicaid? I mean, it seems like that could have been done.